Hello, how's it going? So hope all y'all been doing well. I'm really glad to be back here for another episode of Breakdown. Little update since it has been a minute since I've been here, been up here doing breakdown and stuff. Recently just started my partnership also slash sponsorship with W Energy Drinks, as I have here, and as you can see the little logo right here in the bottom corner. Um, what W Energy Drinks is? It's an energy drink blend that keeps you like super wide awake, super alert. It's actually kind of good for you too. And it doesn't give you that super like weird jitteriness that you get, that jittery feeling you get, or even you don't even crash that hard after it wears off and stuff. So it's really good stuff, and it tastes really good. Right now, I'm currently drinking the passion fruit tea that they have. It's pretty good, pretty damn good. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and jump into Ableton. So today for breakdown, we're going to be breaking down my song that I just released called "Where's the Bass." So while we pull that up, let me go ahead and give you a little bit of a little backstory in how this song kind of came to be before we actually listen and break the whole song down. Wrong view. There we are. Haha. There we go. Okay. So this is the project file for Where's the Bass. As you can see, it's kind of a very simple, kind of basic looking track. Nothing too much going on here. Like I said, well, first off, it's a rhythm track. Rhythm is very minimalistic. There's not really much that goes into it. Very super, kind of super simple. Excuse me. But lost my train of thought. But yeah, so how it kind of came to be is I was originally working on the song a while ago, and my a good homie of mine snaps from a server full of Glovers that I'm in. Excuse me. He hits me up, sends me a message, and tells me that I should sample something funny for this song because I think it'd be funny. And I'm like, okay, always, yeah. I love to sample funny stuff that I find on the internet in music. It works out it works out like 95% of the time. And so I was like, do you have anything in mind? And he goes, I found this video of Kanye West in the studio of him shouting at this guy named Josh, asking him where's the bass. I was like, where's the bass? Let me see it. So he sends me a link, and it's literally just him jamming in the studio, and then he goes, Josh, where's the bass? Josh, where's the bass? Here's the this is I think this is the audio clip right here towards the end.
Josh, where's the bass?
Hella funny. I love this thing. I love it. It's great. So when I heard the sample, I was like, you know what? Yep. This is Rasul. What's good? Welcome in, buddy. Much love. Much love. Glad to see you in here, buddy. Miss you. Hope you've been well. Hope you've been doing great. So yeah, like I said, this is my track. Where's the Bass? Just recently dropped about a week ago. Kind of a freebie little throwaway rhythm tune that I wanted to put out for the people. New rhythm tune out there for the people. Yeah, it was a fun little track. I sampled Kanye West, a little video I found of Kanye West in the studio, which was kind of funny. So sample that. We'll go over the patches, go over the sidechain of the sub, the drum processing, all that good shizzle. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a listen. Oh wait, hold on. Technical difficulty, guys. Please stand by. Because there is a tape stop in here. See? There we go. I had to fix it. I'm a genius. I'm a fucking genius. Alright. So, again, without further ado, let's take a listen.
Where's the bass? Josh! Where's the bass?
Oh man, I love this track. This track's fun. All right. Excuse me. All right. So let's go ahead and break this down, shall we? So let's start at the very, very beginning and go piece by piece into the drop, into the yeah. You know how we do. Okay. So, intro. So, like most rhythm, it's a very basic formula. Um, well, yeah, yeah, those wobs, and those wubs are really fun. We'll get into the sound design patch, and all that good stuff too. Not to worry. So with rhythm, it's a very typical, very standard formula that you follow for most of the time, especially old school rhythm formula, kind of like this. So it's typically a 16 bar intro, and then it goes into the drop. So the first 8 bars are just this little like kind of chilly, weird, warby kind of pad that I made on my homie's analog synth that he has. It was really cool. So when I was making that, I was playing this out, recording it in Ableton, and then I kind of stuck with it because it was just enough atmosphere for a typical old school OG rhythm style track. Um, and so after that, I basically took the same layer, but here I transposed it down a whole octave. So you heard the first top layer up here, and now you're about to hear the bottom layer. So when you have them together, there you go. So it's just to add that extra layer to kind of give it more atmosphere, a little more tension. And so to add more to that tension, I took one of the patches that I used in the drop, rendered it into an audio clip like you see right here on the bottom, and placed that underneath. So on top of all of that, you hear this sound. But notice how it kind of has that pattern. Um, so here, all I really did was we have two plugins at work here. Very simple, simple, minimal processing. So the first thing is the plugin Drip by Kyle Beats. I fucking swear by this thing sometimes. All right. So here, let me. I'm gonna leave the EQ on and turn the drip off. Now listen here. This is the original sound, and now with some drip on it. without it, with it. Kind of makes it just changes it a lot, and it's just awesome. Like, it's pretty cool. And then for the EQ, I just have a Fat Filter Pro Q on here. Just a nice little valley dip here, just to kind of bring it down more, so it's more ducked and dissonant in the back. So that way it's not too forward up front. So like with drip on and the EQ off. See how it's too forward out there? So with the EQ, I just basically just toned the shit out of it down with this big dip, this big valley dip right here. And I'll get into how this sound was made when we get into the drop. We're almost there. So yeah, that's the whole like interlude, like musical, like instrumental part. And then on top of that, we just have two kick layers here. Both kick layers I've made. So if anybody's interested, I will be putting out a sample pack here soon. Yo, Brain Melter, what's good? Thank you for the follow. Much appreciate, bud. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Much. So yeah, all the drums that you hear in all of my songs, with the exception of a few, all the drums I have made myself from piecing different drum pieces together. From all the acoustic drum kits that I've recorded, with a lot of post processing and all that, and also a combination of beatbox hits that I've done myself. So all my drums are 100% organic and original, made by me. So if anybody's interested, I do have a couple packs that I'm putting together. So if you're interested, find me on my socials, message me, and I'll send you basically what I have now. And then when the pack finally comes out, you'll get everything else. But yeah, sample pack on the way. Hey. So what we have here is just this really simple kick, right up here. There's a really punchy, thuddy kick, but as you can hear, it's kind of toned down differently. So all it is basically just a drum bus kind of pushing it more. And then EQ to kind of separate the thud and the high end frequencies here, because I wanted to keep that, right? But the reason why it sounds so quiet, why does it sound hella quiet? Oh yeah, here's why. The mix chain on the group. I haven't worked on this in a minute, so I totally forgot what's going on here. All right. So let's get into this after I go over the next kick. So the kick layer underneath, and I turn both kick volumes down 1 decibel, just to tone it down a little bit, right? Then I have this secondary kick here. It's more of a thuddy boom instead of a punch, right? Something smooth, simple. So that way, when you have them both together, see how it kind of blends all together, transient wise. And then what gives it the sound that we have here is the mix chain. So what I have here is Ableton stock compressor, and what I normally do to make it my kick a little punchier than it is originally organically, is a slow attack and a quick release, and that's it. I give it a little color. I should probably turn soft clip on. I should have done that in the first place. Oop. Oh well, I can fix that. Anyways, I add some color to it by adding a saturator. Putting 2 decibels on the drive, 2 decibel drive, medium curve, -5 on the output, 75% to 80% on the dry wet ratio percentage, and then soft clip is always on. Just so you know, I fucked up and didn't have it on here, so that's my bad. But soft clip is always on, always. Bittersweet is a transient shaper by Flux. It's free, so definitely check it out. And all it is just kind of making a little more the transients a little more bitter, so that way kind of punches through distortedly a little bit more than instead of cleaning up the transients. Creative decision. I've gotten a lot of like feedbacks talking shit about it, but it's a creative decision. Stay hydrated, by the way. So then, right after the transient shaper, we have Fat Filter Pro Q, and it's just kind of toning down the low ends here and creating more of a valley here, just to keep that low end thud in it more. And then after that, we added some drip, and the drip it's standard lo-fi stock preset, but it sounded good. All I really did was just turn down the dry mix ratio knob here, just turn it down a little bit, and that's all I did. And then right underneath it, I got a drum loop from Cymatics and added another case of drip just to kind of give it. As you can see, it's this rhythm song here is kind of like a liquidy, lo-fi kind of old school rhythm tune. It's a pretty fun one. It's pretty fun. Just responding to messages. Show tomorrow, so I gotta make sure everything's all in line. So yeah, that's pretty much the intro so far. There's a little bit more that we need to go into. So what we do, you can't see because my webcam is right here. But right above your channel list here, there's a little button that allows you to toggle on toggle on or off your automation. Your automation on or off. English. So we toggle it on, and we look at our automation here. So let's do. No, there we go. So it looks a little more chaotic than it is, but this is relatively very, 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 very simple. Trust me. So there's really only two things majorly at play here, and that's Kiloheart's tape stop plugin and Valhalla's frequency echo. And what those do is give it this sound here. Oop. Nice little transition to kind of go into the delayed drop into the drop itself. So literally, this is all that's going on here. So we open the group up. We'll open up both frequency echo. Wrong thing. And then we open up the tape stop. Okay. So bring them right here and right here. Okay. So the tape stop is giving it that little like wind down sound, that type of sound, right? That's all the tape stop's doing. All the other stuff is coming from frequency echo and then my delay bus that I have here. And my delay bus is basically just kind of like an old school reggae inspired ping pong echo delay that I created using Ableton's delay. And one of these days I'll break down how I went about presetting that and creating that whole bus and everything, because there's a lot that goes into it. So that's really all that's going on here. So play the sound again and then watch the knobs on frequency echo. Watch these knobs. Oops, I'm in the wrong area. So notice how the tape stopped, as well as this. The knobs here shifted. So what I was basically doing was playing more so off the delay and using the frequency echo to kind of push that delay signal out a little more, while also playing with the tape stop effect. So the tape stop effect is right here, and literally it's just a nice little um, a couple second stop, but it really the stop comes in here. Yo, Sam, what is good? It's 4:20, man. Honestly, you know what? It's almost 4:20 up here. It is 4:03. Thank you for the reminder, but we're gonna go ahead and but we're gonna go ahead and smoke just in honor of the reward. Oh yeah, no worries. All good. All good. Nice. How was the bar, my friend? Cheers on that one, by the way. Good beer, good friends. That's all you really need sometimes, man. That is all you need. Ooh, the taste of W right after taking a hit. That's fire. That is absolute fire. From my center friends, that is absolute fire. Okay, so now that we broke down the intro, we broke down the drums of the intro, and we broke down the the kind of transitional build up breakdown in that's going into the delayed drop here. Now let's go ahead and get into the delayed drop into the drop. And again, very standard when here in the rhythm formula. So let's go ahead and close these out and move forward. Yeah, big show tomorrow, fam. Big show. I'm really excited. Opening up for Omos DNA Lounge, official debut at the DNA Lounge. Oh, it's gonna be fun. DNA Lounge is gonna be hit with some OG rhythm shit, and they are so not ready for this. Let me tell you, these cats ain't ready. Oh man. All right. So let's go ahead and scroll up and get into the drop. So right after we hear that the breakdown section, let me be smart and on solo. There we go. So after we hear that breakdown, oh, I didn't go over the vocal. So yeah, here I just kind of chopped the vocal up and placed it at the beginning of every bar, and then we have the vocal again here for the breakdown into the pre-drop, and it's literally just saying where the bass, where the bass, where the bass, where the bass, and then Josh with the bass. Josh with the bass. Fucking Kanye West. Oh man, I just love this song. This song's funny. So yeah, after you hear Josh with the bass, you hear um and that's literally there's literally just two layers in the drop to be at the beginning. That's literally it. But as simple as it is, there's a little more going into it, as you heard, right? So let's go ahead and break down the drop. So first off, we have the top main line here. So what's going on here is this. Let's open up Serum. All right. Shout out Quack Tuts for the basic for the inspiration for this one. By the way, was watching one of his videos and kind of inspired me to make this one. So here's what's going on. It's really very simple. So all we have here on oscillator A, down 3 octaves, we have a square form, and then right next to on oscillator B, we have a distorted bass dropper. So let's look at oscillator 1 and look at its destinations. So oscillator 1 is only sent to yo, just cause, what's good, Welcome in. Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you've been well. Been seeing you out there, seeing you've been busy. So that's good, man. That's good. Hope you've been doing well otherwise, though. Hope the family's been good. And thank you again for stopping by, fam. Much, much love. Alright, so back to the patch. So Oscillator 1 is also sent to, what did it say here? Okay. My EQ. That's right. So Oscillator 1 is also sent to the frequency knob here for the left frequency, and then the frequency knob for the right. For the no, it's not for the left, for the low, and then for the high. So when we hear the sound, now you see how the EQ is kind of moving towards it. So all I did is when I dropped it in here, I assigned it and kind of tweaked with how much of the LFO shaping is going to be pushed through with that knob. So as you see, the low end frequency knob is a little like less than the high frequency, but watch the middle, watch the graphic EQ in here. So this here is going to be this midpoint here. You see how it kind of dips down a little bit? That's what this is doing here. It's pushing that little valley dip right here. While with that valley dip going down, this is pushing this little slope up over here. But notice how there's a little blue line, that little blue dot here on the gain fluctuating to kind of give that peak a push up here. We're going to get into that here in a second. That's good. That's being used in Oscillator 2. So now that I mentioned that, surviving and thriving, you too, man. Missed the house call, fam. Need to be more social. I'll just lurk. No, all good, dude. Chill out. I'm just breaking down a song I just dropped. Hang out, chill, grab a beer, grab a dude, just hang out, bro. Again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Much appreciated. So now we look at Oscillator 2. Oscillator 2 only is sent to the EQ volume, the filter cutoff, and what did it say here? There it is. Wavetable position on Oscillator B. So this is where most of the action comes in because of how this this oscillator is kind of behaving. So LFO 1 is set on a quarter note here. Oh, we got a hydration check in the chat. Thank you, Mia. Much appreciated. Thank you. Much love. Thank you. Thank you. So as we see here, LFO 1 has a rate of a quarter note. So we look here at LFO 2, it's slowed down to a half, right? So it's half of this BPM value. So BPM is 140, so this is operating at 70. So it's 1, so the 1, and so it goes 1, 2, and then the 2 is hitting where the 3 hits on 140. So 140 is 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 2, 3, 4. And 70, it's boom, 2, boom, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Whatever. I'm fucking stoned. Moving on. I can't count for shit when I'm stoned. God, I'm an idiot. And I'm trying to explain this shit. Alright. So, what LFO 2 is doing is, like I said, it's sent here to the gain for the low frequency valley to peak that we're pushing through. So when we play it again, now watch this knob. So as you see, it goes wham 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 wham. So now we go back into our oscillator views. All right, I gotta show you where the oh no, the filter's over here. Stupid. Right. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Right. So now we look over here, and we see over here, oscillator 2 is affecting wavetable position for wavetable 2. And that's kind of how we get more of that wub out of that square form, is with this wavetable here. And at the same time, we also see oscillator 2 assigned over here to the filter cutoff. And what that's doing is just switching the amount of frequencies that it cuts off, the cutoff point of the filter, and that's giving us that weird so it sounds like there's two notes playing, but it's actually just one note. It's just how the LFOs are working together in the destinations that they're set to. So again, super simple, nothing too crazy. Everything else is pretty solid. As you see here, the only other notes though, just so you guys are aware when you're trying to look back and recreate this, on the warp menu we have FM from B, and on the warp menu on B we have sync half window, and we have it turned up here to 5.47%, and that gives it that right type of blend between the two. So now, once we have that broken down, let's look at this little fucker here. Actually, no, before that, let's go into the post-processing of this first. So what I did after I had the sound, let's go ahead and mute everything else. All right, so what I did, this is the sound before processing. Not bad, not bad. So we open up the first fab filter here. So as you see, it still carries some of that low end here. So what we did is we made a 72 decibel per octave shelf, and we set two valley dips here. One is pretty sharp at about 730 hertz, and then right here at about 12,286 hertz. But this one's a little wider. So when we turn fab filter on, we have this. So you see how that middle point is still being pushed through? Kind of want to duck that down a bit, but also keeping everything else pretty level. So then what we did here is we added Xver's OTT. By the way, I made this when I didn't know this, but Ableton's OTT is a lot better. Because what OTT is doing is it's pushing frequencies, that the hidden frequencies more, push through the stereo field more. So if you cut stuff out and then add an OTT after, it's going to be pushing that stuff you cut off out a little more, or at least what's left of it. So what I did for OTT, with the OTT, is I kept it very simple, very simple. Time it was all the way down. Pushed the highs, mids, and the lows a little bit, and left everything else as is. So notice how it goes from here to this. So all I'm really doing with this is pushing everything in a general sense more after I EQ'd it. Then we add some color with saturator, and the configuration for saturator is exactly the same, but for this time, this is the only time I really do this, but normally I have this switched on all the time. So soft clip is turned off, but listen how we go from this to this. Come on, there we go. So then right after that, I slapped on another Pro Q3. Did a harsh brick wall cutoff right here at 84. give it a nice little dip here at about just under 5,000, and pushed it right here at about 730. Oops. Ha, didn't click it on. So normally I would have cut everything off to about here. Would have made a nice little a nice slow little cut off, gradual cut off here. But when we get into breaking down what I did for the sub, you'll see why I left it as is. So the muddiness is what is kept, but it's a clean form of muddiness, right? So after that, it sounds okay. But it's still kind of very much here where I want it to be out here, right? So I took a Stereo Tool V3, another free tool from Flex, and all I did really was I just pushed the left and right signal of the sound out about a decibel and a half. Oops, I should probably turn it on. So we go from that to this. Notice how it's still in here, but yet it still sounds a little out there more, right? That's all it is. It's just pushing it out, stretching it out just a little bit. So that's the whole mix chain for the main for the main bass. Let's go ahead and go into the top layer here. All this so we can go into it piece by piece by piece. So for this sound, we use Vital. Vital and I have been in a love-hate relationship for a good minute. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. Why? I don't know. It never made sense to me either. Yeah, there we go. By the way, hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope everybody's alive, staying hydrated, staying lit. Speaking of staying lit, it is 420, fam. Cheers. $420 DJ. It's 420, man. All right. So, aptly named funny lead, because this is kind of a funny sounding lead, right? So, this is it by itself without any processing. All right. So let's go ahead and break this bitch down. So all it is here is a simple sine wave and a triangle. I took the level here, boosted it up a little bit, and then I added this little weird sample that I found in my library. Didn't even know what it is. Don't even know what it is exactly. But I was like, you know what? This could be useful. So I threw it in here. Drew up an envelope here. I have the attack set at 0.164. The decay at 0.36036, and the release at 0.089. And we have this nice little shape here, right? And then with the envelope, I just sent the envelope, this envelope to the filter FX cutoff. Oh no, wait. Not here. Yeah, not here. Right here. This is the cutoff knob right here. And all that's doing is just taking the sound as is without it. Like, how do I? Oh, yeah. and all that's doing is just pushing this shelf out back to its regular full position. So that's how we get that high pitched sound coming through here, right? So once I drew up the envelope, I went into LFO1 and kind of drew this rectangular shape right here, right? The frequency, I have it at 0.001 second, so that way it's just very quick. Kind of give it that weird kind of ringy sound that goes along with this the sample that I brought in. So LFO1 is only sent to oscillator 1 level and sample level. As you can see, oscillator 1 is up all the way, sample level is just halfway up. So go back into voice. So filter level goes from 0 to 100 real quick, and this goes 0 to halfway up. And see how it's kind of fluctuating really quickly. That's what's giving it that tone, that sound, that texture. You know what I mean? And that's really all that's all that's really going on in here. But I also set up some macros in here to kind of make it easier for me to warp everything out and without having to do extra work. By the way, setting up macros in your sound design software, key move. That's like a 200 IQ move right there, guys. I shit you not. Stretch. I got you, Matt. I see you. Stretchy time. Gotta stay loose. Gotta stay loose. Alright. I needed that too. I feel good. I'm fine and inexplicably rejuvenated. For my nerds out there, you know what that's from. So once all that was done, I went in here and created three macros. The first macro is for the LFO. So this is where the LFO is set at now, 0.410. If I go down here, so that gives it its overall tonality. Enter value. Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. Ha! Joke's on me. I forgot my number pad was set to my scene switcher. My bad, guys. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. What is the purpose of a rubber duck? Let me check my sources. We're going to pause it right here. Check my sources. What is the purpose of a rubber duck? Oh, we're about to get real scientific, real like breaking down here. We're breaking down questions that are asked from the chat. This is how we do things. All right. We have here from the museumofplay.org. With their bright color, smooth texture, and for some, squeaky or quacky sounds, rubber ducks sharpen toddler senses. Their presence in the bathtub soothes youngsters' fears of water and water immersion, and makes a good, clean fun of the routine hygiene that they're learning. Yeah. Science. I hope that answers your question, Mia. We have now legitimately have found the purpose of a rubber duck. And answering questions that which people did not know the answer to. That's how we do it. Yeah. All right. Anyways, back from our message back to our regular scheduled programming. Welcome back, Versa. Huh, caffeine really hitting me right now. This is some really good stuff. Shout out Debbie for the really awesome stuff. So good. If you haven't already, w.gg. Order stuff now. Use Echo Music, 10% off. You know what it is. All right. So, um, once I made the LFO macro, thank you. I made one for the flanger and the chorus just in case I wanted to experiment with it. So here's some flanger. And then here's some with some chorus. And then really what the flanger macro is doing is just taking the center of the flanger and the feedback and going from the same amount to as much as I want. So we look over here, go to my flanger, you'll see that the feedback and the center change ever so slightly, right? So I can have some fun with that. And then the chorus, all it's doing is just fucking around with the mix. But notice how when I give it that quarter note wah pattern, it changes the sound completely. Damn near. Fun stuff, right? So that's the top layer right there. Now let's go ahead and break down the processing on it. So what I did is I added a FabFilter Pro Q, like I always do. And as you see, we have a nice brick wall right here, right at about 300. So notice how we had a lot of that low end frequency kind of coming through. And then we turn it on. And it's gone. Whoa. That's EQing. You're just cutting out frequencies you don't need. So since all of the low ones are going to be coming mainly from the mid lows of the main patch and the sub, this didn't really need any low end frequency. So this is literally what's called a top layer, a layer that sits on the top of everything in the top frequency range. As such. So after that, I added a glue compressor. It's a nice, nice little piece right here. I just have the attack at point 0.3, the release all the way down, ratio at 4, range at 3, and everything, and all of this turned down. Soft clip on, and so we go from this to. And it's just still keeping it pushed down. We don't want this to be pushed too forward out because everything else is still going on with the top layer up here. So this is where we're at so far. So notice how we can kind of hear it, but it's not there all the way just yet. So we kind of need to push that through a little bit more. So that's what we did with the saturator. This is my typical saturator, and again with the soft clip off, just because I wanted it more harsh to be pushed through a little bit. So now this is the sound that we're working with before the saturator, and now after the saturator. So then after that, we opened up another Pro Q3, and we brick walled it again just about under 300. And then after that, we just added a limiter from kilohertz. Shout out kilohertz. So without it, with it. And like I said, it's just kind of pushing it. It's just pushing it through a little bit more. So now when we have both layers together, so notice how it's blended very nicely together, where you can barely hear the top layer amidst everything else, but it's not so loud where that's the only thing you hear right away. So let's get into the next section. So now we're starting to see track lines right down here. So, and mind you, it's just the same patch, just a slight difference. So this motherfucker here, right? So that sound, it's the same, it's the main patch, but see, everything's still the same. Main patch, next patch, same. Only difference is when we open up Serum, remember how this was at a quarter? We turned it down to a half, so that way, and then we also left this as is. And now this is the sound we got. So it's a nice little switch up from the whole flow of it all. And like I said, all it is it's the same patch. All it is I just slowed the rate down on the main LFO and LFO1. So we went from quarter, wow, 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 and then we go right back into it. So we have the same thing right here, right? Oh, how about it? So this is the next section right here. So what's going on here is it's alternating from the main track to the secondary main track that we have here. So again, it's all the same patch on these three tracks up here. It's all the same. The only difference is this. Oop, wrong section. So again, everything's still the same, very same. But what's different is we started with the main bass being at quarter, the switch up right here is at half, and now we layered an eighth pattern of the patch to the drop. That's how we get the whoop whoop, you whoop whoop, you whoop whoop, you whoop whoop. So it kind of sounds like we have rhythm chops going on, but it's the exact same patch. Just all we're doing is just alternating from quarter to eighths. So this is the eighth patch as you hear it. Wham, 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 bam, 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 what, bam, 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 bam. So what we're really hearing is just a whoop whoop, that the secondary whoop whoop. And like I said, all it is just alternating between channels 3 and 4, main bass and secondary main bass. And how that's being done is by no, that's just automation. Here we go. That's the automation I'm looking for. Um, by automating the switches of the on and off switch of channels 3, and 4. So when we go into the mixer view here in Ableton, watch very closely the buttons here for channel 3 and the button here for channel 4. Watch these two right here very, very closely. Oop. That's all it is. And then as you heard here, we got that the halftime version of that. Um that's all the second section is right here. And then, after that it goes into the breakdown. So you have section A of the drop, section B of the drop. Now let's go, and then oh yeah, blah blah blah. And then down here for the layer, um, what I did is I basically just copied the pattern to kind of give it that same rhythmic flow to it. So we heard the main bass, boom, wop up, boom, wop up, boom, wop up, boom, wop up, and then underneath that, or more so on top of that, but behind it at the same time, we hear. Fun, right? It's a really nice little fun tune. Um, but that's all it is for the B section. That's all the B section really is. So now that we broke that down, let's go ahead and head to our subs. So every time I'm sidechaining sub to it, I'm always using my little sub rack that I made here. For all you Ableton users, if you like to check out this sub rack that I made, Echo's little sissy sub rack, let me know. I'll go ahead and send it over to you. If you're in the Mimic Discord server, it's already in there. You just got to go into the sample pack channel, and it's gonna be at the very, very top underneath the pinned messages. So definitely check that out. So what I did here for the first line, set of side chaining, as I always do, one long sustain note throughout the entire thing. Blanking out, blanking out, blanking out. There we go. Okay. And then what I do is I sidechained this to my ghost channel down here. So the ghost channel is essentially a wub that I made out of a kick. A very simple wub out of the kick, and that is just to create its own sidechain without having to worry about adjusting the sidechain if I were to sidechain it directly to the synth group or to a specific synth in the drop. So this is the kick that you hear. Oop, yeah. So you would think that'd be good enough for a sub, but not really. So what I did is so as you see, the channel's muted. So now When we take the sub, when we solo the sub, it's more of a punchier sub. And then all that's really going on here for the sidechain, I use gate to sidechain my subs. It just gives me a better sound, better punch, better on the transients as well. So all I'm doing here is I left the threshold as is, the attack as is. The only thing I really did for this one, it really depends on what you're sidechaining it to. Sometimes it'll be super simple. Sometimes you had to put a little work into it. Most of the time you got to put a little work into it, but that's just because what gate is doing is gate sidechaining is essentially taking the sound signal and pushing the sound that is being sidechained to according to the velocity and the overall volume of that signal. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the signal and the velocity of the ghost kick channel that I have, and applying that type of signal to the sub. So that's what's going on for the A section. For the B section, what I did is I sidechained. As you see, I put a little extra work into the sidechain. The EQs are the same, and I'll go over the EQs after I explain this. So you see where it says audio from? It says to group. So that group is specifically the group here, which is all of the main basis channels here that are in like turquoise. So it's sidechaining the sub to that group. So when we solo this sub here, oh wait, I forgot. Oop, let me turn the drums off. And this too. So notice how it's going. Following the same pattern as what we have for the second job. Wham, 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 wham. Same pattern, same flow. And what I did to make that work better is I just turned the hold up about 10 milliseconds. So now we are at 20 millisecond hold on the signal. The release is toned down to 5 milliseconds, so it's released a lot sooner. And then the floor is pushed up to -60, so it has less of a floor. So that way, it's always reading the signal a lot easier through everything else. And then the EQ, like I said, it's very simple. I have a nice, somewhat soft, somewhat harsh cutoff at about 100, 110. And I just made a little valley here to kind of bring the main peak of the sub down a little bit so it's not overpowering in the mix. But remember how we had the main bassist line cut off at about 200 or so, just 200 or less. That's because that's going to be blended in with this sound. So you see how there's that little bit cut off, a little bit still there right here. So that's going to be blended in with what's left and cut off over here. So that way it's more of a unison, more in unison, more symbiotic type of flow and conjoinment with the frequencies through the EQing. And like I said, if we go to and all the subs are the same too, by the way. So like if we go up here, same deal, same exact deal. So yeah, that's the subs. And then we have the drums here. So like I said, the drums are pretty standard. I use damn near the same drums every single time. Cardinal sin, I know. How guilty, how dare I. But, fuck it, whatever. Here we are. Um, so the drums, same drums as we had in the intro. Uh, Sidechain. So see how the drums are kind it sounds a little, huh? That's on purpose to kind of match the transient and tonality and the texture of the sound design. Because if you have really clean sounding drums, it's kind of, to me at least, it's going to sound really off if you have kind of a grimy sound in your drop and your bass synths. So grimy drop and synths, grimy sounding drums. So that's what we have here with the kick. So all I'm doing here is I switched the drive on my on the drum bus from soft to medium. Turn the crunch up 15%, the damp up all the way up. And then we go into here and we have a little bit of complexity here. So we made the valley as we always do for this kick. Cut it up, we did a brick wall cut off here. And I kind of pushed, got a nice little bump here. And then underneath that, we have this kick. But that kick is only hitting on the one, because that's going to be like that gives it the main kick element. So when we hear both of them at the same time, notice how there's more boom behind it. And then we go into the snare. So kind of the same configuration on the drum bus, except I just have the drive on soft, damp all the way up, and then harsh cutoff here at about 128, because that's where it's coming in the most. And then to kind of give it more body in the mids, I just pushed it up here at about 500 hertz. And then layered underneath that, we have this shitty little snare. Or no, it's not snare. It's not a snare. A clap. Excuse me. Same configuration, just a little less dampening. Brought the highs down here. Cut off brick wall cut off right here at just under 200. So we have the snare and the clap together. Gives it that nice tonality, right? And then with the whole shebang together. So then, once we got that all situated, we have this mix chain here for the drums. Excuse me. Exactly. We clapping cheeks and we clapping that ass. Run away. That's the same thing, or is it? So then, what we did here is we want to make our drums a lot punchier, a lot more brute sounding when we're making rhythm and dubstep, right? So, took a compressor in here and slow attack, quick release, saturator. We gave it some color. Turn the drive up to 2. Take your output and drop it down to -5 decibels. The dry and wet ratio about 80, 75, 80%. We have we have Flux's bittersweet transient shaper here, and what that's doing is that's kind of making it more, the transients more bitter, so it's ducking it a little more, giving it that more oof instead of the boom. So instead of a boom boom, we want a oof oof, especially with the chompy bumps. So after that, we go bingus bongus. We add a Pro QE3 and kind of boost that up a little bit more just to give it that more boom boom and the bumpy fump. Threw a little limiter on here just to kind of push it more, and then that's when we threw on the side chaining, and we side chain it to the subgroup. So now when we have the sub and the drums, you can, so that's what some people sidechain with their whole synth group. Some people would sidechain to their whole synth and subgroup. I only sidechain my drums to my sub, because here's how I look at it. With rhythm webs, it's a gradual kind of, wop, 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 wop. So if you just shape your transients right on your drums to the transients of the wubs and your wonks, you don't really need to sidechain your synths, your drums to your synths. As long as you sidechain it to your sub bass, it's going to come through. So notice when the sub comes through, you're still able to hear the kick and that snare and clap come through. Oh, I love that sound. And so that's what makes this sound so clean. So when we have the whole drop together,
Where's the bass? Where's the bass?
so we heard section A of the second drop. We heard the breakdown, which is really just I muted both of these channels, but no wait, there it is. Huh? Just kidding. It's like I essentially brought the sidechain sub from section A of the song and brought it over here as kind of like the breakdown into the second intro into the next drop. So we heard the fake out, not the fake out, the pre-delayed here. And then it went into the B section for an A section. So the B became the B again, and then we switch everything up in the second section of the B section, or the second section of the first half of the drop. So what we did is we have the original patch here again, right? And then this sound here, that is basically the wapum part from the bottom layer of the main bass here. So that wump that we heard, I basically took that, cut it, sliced it up, reprocessed it a little bit, and made this clip here. So when we have both layers together here, it's just another layer to just switch a tonality and add something new to a section that's already been heard, but flipped up and switched up a little bit. And then we still have the vital patch right here. And then as you heard here, kept the same notes. Wow, 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 wow. So then we go into a nice little switch up here, right? And then what we did for the first quarter of this whole B section here is I took the audio sound that you heard over here. Whoop, wrong window. My bad. I'm still learning how to figure all this shit out. You would think I know what I'm doing, right? But I don't. I have no clue what I'm doing here. Anyways, so I took the sound here, cut it down so that way it's more of a double time sound as such. But notice how that sound was more to one side, right? So to make it full, I put one to the left, one to the right. So, sent me a snap, Ross. Let's see what you sent. I'm curious now. My man is sitting there learning. He's got his notepad and everything out. I love it. I love it, Russell. I love it. I can't wait to hear what you make with all this applied to it. I can't wait. I'm excited. Yeah. So as you see here, we took the bottom layer of the main synth and brought it back over here. And so what we did here is we added this little layer here. This is a patch I made for one of my older songs that I made a while ago, called Enter the Wubs. And this is the main patch that you hear in the song Enter the Wubs. This is my patch called Faisal-like. So this is the patch. If you listen to my song Into the Webs, this is the main patch that you hear. Wamp, 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 wamp. This is it. But we kind of play it around and switch things up a little bit, right? So here we are. Fun, right? I love this sound. It's so fun. It's probably one of my favorite patches I've made, and I use this patch a lot. It's one of the many layers that you hear in my songs. So yeah, all it is basically this nice little custom wavetable that I drew out. We added the blend plus from for the A warping from oscillator A, then we also FM from A, so that way it's a nice little warp of the two. So all we did here, normally it's just a straight quarter note pattern, but we took this down to here, So that way this whole thing is one bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where the main wobs parts comes in. So we have this at a quarter note rate. So it's wampa 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 wamp wampa wamp wampa wamp wampa wamp. And see, so LFO1 is just sent to the filter cutoff. Very, very, very minimal, but it's there. Mainly here at the blend knob. LFO2 is just sent to the warp knob on oscillator B. Normally it's, but that didn't sit right. That set a lot better. And all we did here was we have a fat filter, cutting it off at 300, bringing the valley down here at about 4,000, just to kind of bring those high ends down just a little bit. We don't need that pushing through a lot, right? We brought OTT in, turned the lows all the way down, highs down a little bit, the time up all the way, gave it a little bit more gain. And then all we did here after that is we added an auto pan, and that way the signal is kind of shifting around, so it's going. It's kind of slowly shifting from one side to another. You know what I mean? And this is why I have it sent over to. That's why I have one sent over to one side and one sent to the other. So that way it's kind of one whole signal, but you still hear the weird panning very, very slightly in there. Sorry, talking to the homie Justo about artwork for our release and stuff that's coming out soon. Yeah, which by the way, guys, we got some more music on the way here soon, so don't worry about that anytime soon, because I got some more music coming. Yo, Hoya boy is in the chat. What is good, Brony? My dude, my guy, my brother from another mother. What is good? Welcome in. Nice to see you in here, buddy. Nice to see you. So yeah, after we did that, oh yep, it's definitely 420, man. Always 420. Got you. Right here, right now. Let's go. Oh, perfect, dude. That was the last one because this thing's about to be cached. All right. So after I put the auto pan in, I added the same limiter that we had in the previous patch up here. Just dragged that, just copied and pasted it over here. Got the saturator on, but have the dry wet up all the way, just to give it some more color, give it some more push. And then we have a stereo tool here, right? And this is kind of more so this just kind of see how it was looking in the stereo field. But notice how it was shifting from one side to the other in here. Cool, right? Cool, right? So when we had that layered with this here, notice how that's very softly back there, but you can still kind of hear it to give it that extra texture back there. That's what you really want with when you're layering your synths in any form of bass music, specifically dubstep and rhythm, is you want it to you want to play with your layers and play with the frequencies, so that way everything is sitting there nice and balanced in your mix. Hee hee. Texture, smirk, smirk. Brownie, you dog. I love it, man. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Debbie themselves hitting me back on the IG saying, much love, much love. Much love, fam. Much love from Debbie. Much love from everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Love all you guys out there, by the way. Just everybody who's tuned in, y'all are great. Y'all are awesome. So let's keep on moving on. Keep on checking on. Russell, thanks for the following. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, I do give feedback, but here, so this channel is the Mermaid Music channel. This is a channel for the label that I own and operate, which hosts my breakdown series. Is what you're tuning into now. We had our first demo review stream yesterday, and we're gonna be putting one up here soon. But thank you, Brony. Thank you, Brony, for the link. But if you haven't already, Victor, I'm assuming that's your name. If you're looking for feedback, if you're looking to submit music for feedback, definitely follow that link to my homie Brony right there. Just post it in the chat. That's the link to our Discord server. Hop in there. Go ahead and check. Go ahead and read up on what we're about. Get your server role, and then go ahead and post some of your music in there. We would love to give you feedback and possibly help you grow, bro. This is what we do. We're here to push each other to be the best producers, musicians, best people that we can be. This is what music is all about. So, yeah, feel free to join up, man. It's gonna be awesome. It's good times. We're super active in there. We're always there to help you. We're super active. We always help each other out. We're always working in there. Some of us work on music consistently in there. People hop in, hang out, smoke, give each other feedback, work on collabs. Really cool stuff, man. So yeah, feel free to join in. If you already joined, welcome in. Well, we're based out of California, so feel free, man. Feel free. If you're just feedback you're looking for, this is a spot. This server is a good spot where we give pretty good, consistent feedback. Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for hanging out, bro. We're almost done kind of breaking down this song that I just released. Originally we were planning to do two, but this actually took a lot longer than I thought to break down. But no worries on that though. No worries on that. We're still gonna keep it going. We're still gonna keep things flowing. But yeah, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Much appreciated. Much love, buddy. Thank you so much. All right. So now that we got all these pieces down, broken down, the next section of the drop is the B section here. I know, like, whew. You're telling me. So all that we just went over was essentially oh yes, long dick style. Let's go. So all this that we ran over here was the first drop in kind of like a C section, a C sec drop for the B sec. So we have basically, so if we look at the whole project here, section A, section B, section BA, section A, section AB, section C, section CA to section CB. So section CA is basically the same as section B, but we added the audio wobs that I brought out from the original sound. So we brought that, but we brought it into the second half. Oop. Ha 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 ha, I'm an idiot. And that's pretty much the B section right there. And then after that, it just kind of goes into a little breakdown towards the end of the song. So we go here.
Josh! Where's the bass?
So yeah, that's pretty much the whole song. That is the song "Where's the Bass," exclusively out on SoundCloud and YouTube. Excuse me. But yeah, that's the whole song broken down piece by piece, bit by bit. Um, nothing much going on different in the intro. It's basically the same thing that we heard from the intro in the intro and the breakdown. But we took the how we transitioned out of the musical interlude as the outro, and then we just brought the vocal sample back to kind of end it all. So that's what we heard. That's what you heard right here.
Josh! Where's the bass?
Josh, where's the bass? I love it. Like, this song is just so fun. Really fun to play out too. I'll be playing this out at my show tomorrow at the DNA Lounge. So if you're gonna be there, you will definitely hear that song out live. But again, thanks again everybody for tuning in, hanging out. It's been fun. Definitely go check out all the new music that I have out. Just dropped "Where's the Bass" on SoundCloud. But definitely check out "Humanity," "Killshot," and all my other previous releases out on Spotify and all of the major platforms. And also, guys, as I mentioned before, I've been sponsored by W Energy Drinks. So shout outs to W Energy for putting me on, giving me the opportunity. It's been real fun. Definitely check them out. Awesome drinks, awesome energy, no jitterness, no crash. Don't forget to use code ECHOMUSIC, all one word, for 10% off your purchase. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been fun. Definitely, if you missed this, it's gonna be on YouTube anyways. Whatever. Don't mind me. I'm fucking stoned. I'm tired, and I gotta get ready for band rehearsal in about an hour. So, on that note, everybody, take care, stay smooth, stay hydrated. As I always say, keep it vibing, keep it flowing, keep it blessed, keep it positive. Smoke all your water, drink as much weed as humanly possible. Much love, guys. I'm out. Peace.